Hello, good evening, children. Today we deals with the fifth chapter, that is coordination, the linking system. In this lesson, we mainly discuss about the structure of neurons, structure of brain, and different hormones in our body, and coordination in plants also. Let's see the topics. Observe this picture. Here, whenever we face the situations like this, we behave like this. Here, two terms are there. One is stimulus and another one is response. Stimulus means the changes in our surroundings. Whatever may be the change, it is called stimulus. And our response to the stimulus, it is called response. Response means our actions to the stimulus. It is called response. Here we are looking at the picture, and here bad smell, it is the stimulus, and covering the nose, it is the response. So this is an example for coordination in our body. Here we smell through our nose, and that information, it is sent to the brain, and brain it generates signals and pass the signals to the effector organs like hands, and with the help of hands we close our nose. This is the coordination. This is about stimulus and response. Stimulus means changes around us. Response means our actions to the stimulus. The next one, here a small experiment. Here holding falling stick. In order to perform this experiment, here a children is there, and he is holding a stick, and here another children, he is placing his fingers to hold the stick. So when this children he leaves the stick, this children he hold the stick. For that, coordination is required. That means this children, the second children, he see with his eyes, and that information is sent to the brain, and brain passes signals to the hand. Then he hold the stick. For that, some time is taken. How much time is required, we are testing here. So this is a simple experiment regarding the coordination in our body. The next one is, here it is nerve cell. This is also called neuron. Neuron is the structural and functional unit of our nervous system. Number of neurons are present in our nervous system. Nearly 10 billions of neurons are there. 1 billion means 100 crores. 10 billions means approximately 1000 crores of neurons are present in our nervous system. And here, if we observe the neuron, it contains some structures. This portion is called cell body. It is also called cyton, and small branches like structures around the cell body, they are called dendrites, and one long branch like structure, it is called axon. Like this, cell body is there. In the cell body, nucleus is present in the center, and in the cell body, cytoplasm is there. In the cytoplasm, granules are present. They are called Nissl granules. And from the cell body, small branch-like structures arises. They are called dendrites. And long branch-like structure, it is called axon. And axon is surrounded by a sheath, a membrane-like structure, that is called myelin sheath. This myelin sheath is made up of fats, and in the myelin sheath, at some places, gaps are there, like this. Here, like this, gaps are there. They are called nodes of Ranvier, and at the tip of the axon, nerve endings are there, like this. Neuron structure is present, and some neurons possess myelin sheath on the axon. That neurons are called myelinated neurons or myelinated axons, and some neurons they lack, or they did not possess this myelin sheath. They are called non-myelinated neurons. Like this, neuron structures are there, and these neurons, they are present in the brain, in the spinal cord, in the nerves. They are present everywhere in our nervous system. This is about the structure of neuron. The next one is here neurons are there, neurons, and here these neurons are connected with one another. Neurons generally connect with another neuron or with muscles. These connections, these places, that means the connection between the two neurons or the connection between the neuron and the muscle, that place is called synapse. This is very, very important. Synapse means the functional gap between the two neurons is called synapse. Here at the synapse a gap is there. At the gap some chemicals are present. They transport the information from one neuron to another neuron, and this is called synapse. Synapse means a functional gap between the two neurons, or the information is passed from one neuron to another neuron through this synapse. This is very, very important. And here types of neurons. In our body there are mainly three types of nerves are there. One type of nerves are called afferent nerves, and second type of nerves are called efferent nerves. The third type of nerves are called association nerves. First, afferent nerves, they are also called sensory nerves. These nerves, they send information from the body parts to the brain or spinal cord. That means afferent nerves or sensory nerves means they carry information from the muscles or body parts to the brain or spinal cord. And similarly, efferent nerves, they are also called motor nerves. The function of motor nerves is they carry information from the brain and they send the information to the body parts or to the effector organs. So efferent nerves or motor nerves means they carry information from the brain and they send the information, or they pass the orders to the effector organs or to the muscles. The third type of nerves, they are called association nerves. These association nerves, they perform both functions, carrying the information from brain to body parts and sending the information to the brain. Like that, there are mainly three types of nerves are there in our body. Here a simple experiment. This is called knee jerk. Actually, in our body, some actions are voluntary. That means they are controlled by us, and some actions are involuntary. They are not under our control. So this is a small experiment, knee jerk. If we sit here like this in a relaxed position, and if we hit this portion below the knee with a small hammer, then we can observe the changes in the muscles, and we cannot control that changes in the muscles. That means they are involuntary. That means some movements or some changes in our body, they are involuntary, they are not under our control. This is about knee jerk. That means some actions in our body are voluntary, that means they are under our control, and some actions they are not under our control, they are called involuntary. This is called reflex arc. Reflex arc means in our body some actions happen very, very fast. In these reflex arc, brain is not involved, only spinal cord is involved, because some actions they have to happen very, very fast. So for that purpose, here only involvement of spinal cord is there. Here is an example of reflex arc. When we place our foot on a sharp object like this, here is a sharp object is here. When we place our leg on a sharp object, here receptor cells are present. Receptor cells are present everywhere in our body. They are present on sensory organs. We have mainly 5 sensory organs: eyes, nose, ears, tongue and skin. These receptors are present everywhere in the sensory organs. So here receptors are present. These receptors, when we put our foot on a sharp object, these receptors, they take that information, and this information is taken up by the sensory nerves or afferent nerves, and this information is passed to the spinal cord. This is spinal cord. And in the spinal cord, neurons are there. They are called intermediary neurons. Now these neurons, they process the information, and after processing the information, orders are passed to the effector organs, to the leg, through this motor nerve. This is motor nerve. It is bringing the information to the effector organ, to the leg. When the information comes to the effector organ, that means to the leg, we remove the leg from that sharp object. This is called reflex arc. In this reflex arc, if we observe, mainly involvement of these receptors, sensory nerve, and this spinal cord, and motor neuron and effector organ is there. This is about reflex arc. Reflex arc means simple, without involvement of brain, spinal cord itself, it processes the information and pass the orders. The importance of reflex arc is for fostering of actions, for fast reaction, for fast response. This is called reflex arc. Actually, this is the brain. Actually, our nervous system is mainly two types. One is called central nervous system, and another one is called peripheral nervous system. Central nervous system, it includes mainly two important organs in our body. They are brain and spinal cord. Here first we discuss about the brain. It is main part in the central nervous system. Brain. Brain is a very important organ in our body, and brain is present in the head region. Brain is surrounded by a box-like structure. That box is made up of bones. That is called cranium, and brain is surrounded by three layers. That layers are called meninges. In between the inner layers, a fluid is there that is called cerebrospinal fluid. Cerebrospinal fluid protects the brain. And if we observe the brain, the outside of the brain, that's called periphery. The periphery of the brain is in gray color, and towards the center of the brain, it is in white color. The outer side of the brain is in gray color, and the center of the brain, it is in white color. And brain contains mainly, brain is divided into mainly three parts: forebrain, midbrain, and hindbrain. Forebrain, in Telugu it is called Mundu Medaru, and midbrain, Madhya Medaru, and hindbrain, Venaka Medaru. And forebrain, it mainly contains two parts, that is cerebrum and diencephalon. Midbrain and hindbrain contains mainly two parts, that is cerebellum and medulla oblongata. And different parts in the brain perform different functions. Actually, this brain is very important organ. It's a control unit in our body, and here the biggest part in the brain is cerebrum. This cerebrum is divided into mainly two cerebral hemispheres. Actually, in our brain, two cerebral hemispheres are there. Now we discuss about the functions of the brain. These are the different parts and their functions in the brain. First one is cerebrum. Cerebrum is very important. As I already told, it is responsible for mental abilities, controls thinking, memory, reasoning, perception, emotions, and speech. It interprets sensations and responds to cold, heat, pain, and pressure. This is the most important part in our brain. And diencephalon, it is the relay center for sensory impulses such as pain, temperature, and light, and the reflex center for muscular activities, and center for certain emotions like anger. It is a center for water balance, blood pressure, body temperature, sleep, and hunger. The hypothalamus, actually, hypothalamus, it is one of the part in our brain. It is also a part in diencephalon. The hypothalamus controls the pituitary gland. We discuss about the pituitary gland in the next topic, which functions as the master gland. And the next one is midbrain. Midbrain, it mainly controls the actions of muscles. And hindbrain. Hindbrain contains mainly these two parts. These cerebrum and diencephalon, these two are the parts of forebrain and midbrain, and these two, cerebellum and medulla oblongata, these two are the parts of hindbrain. This cerebellum, it maintains the posture, equilibrium and muscle tone, and coordinates the voluntary movements initiated by cerebrum. And medulla oblongata contains center for it's very important. It controls the cardiac activity, respiratory and vasomotor activities, and it coordinates reflexes like swallowing, coughing, sneezing and vomiting, etc. Like this, different parts in our brain controls different functions, like this. And here we are observing spinal cord. This is actually vertebral column. Inside the vertebral column, spinal cord is present. This spinal cord, it's also very important part in the central nervous system. Actually, this spinal cord, it joins with the medulla oblongata. It has connection with the hind brain. This one, this spinal cord, actually the outer side of the spinal cord, it's in white color, and towards the center it's in gray color. It is reversed to the brain. Actually, when we observe the brain, the outside of the brain it's in gray color, and in the middle it is in white in color. But whereas in case of this spinal cord, the outer side of the spinal cord is white in color, and the center, towards the center, it is in gray color. And spinal cord is also, it also performs very important functions in the nervous system. It acts as a relay center. It acts like communication. It acts as communication between the body parts and brain. Like this is also very important. And this Leonardo da Vinci and Stephen Hales, they performed an experiment regarding this spinal cord. They observed that when they remove brain from a frog, that frog, it survived. But when they remove this spinal cord, the frog immediately dies. It indicates the importance of spinal cord. Now we observe that this is the TS, transverse section of spinal cord. This one, the outer side of the spinal cord, it in white color, and the inner side towards the center it is in gray color. And here, these are the this spinal cord, it contains horns. This is called dorsal horn, and this is called ventral horn. That means this is towards the back side of our body, and this is towards the front side of our body. And here, this is the sensory nerve. This is called dorsal horn. And this is the motor nerve. Like this, this is the TS of spinal cord. And if we observe the spinal cord and brain, from brain 12 pairs of nerves arises. They are called cranial nerves, and the nerves that arises from the spinal cord are called spinal nerves. Nervous system means brain and spinal cord. Peripheral nervous system means the nerves that arises from the brain and spinal cord. That means the nerves that arises from the brain are called cranial nerves. They are actually 12 pairs, and the nerves that arises from the spinal cord, they are called spinal nerves. They are actually 31 pairs. A total of 43 pairs of nerves are there. They are called peripheral nervous system. This peripheral nervous system also performs so many functions in our body. And this is called autonomous nervous system. It is also a part of peripheral nervous system. Actually, in the autonomous nervous system, and this is called parasympathetic nervous system. Like this, autonomous nervous system is mainly two types. One is called sympathetic nervous system, and another one is called parasympathetic nervous system. Sympathetic nervous system, it performs the functions like this. That means beginning of pupil, and salival control, and lungs, heartbeat control, and sexual organs, and this all these digestive system and pancreas, etc. And like this, autonomous nervous system, it performs autonomously. This is about autonomic nervous system. And next we discuss about the chemical coordination in our body. Besides this central nervous system, peripheral nervous system and autonomous nervous system, in our body chemical coordination is also there. For example, here a gland is there, this is called pancreas. This pancreas, it releases a hormone, an important hormone, that is called insulin. Insulin is an important hormone released in our body. This insulin, it controls the levels of glucose in our body. Whenever the levels of glucose increases in our body, then insulin hormone release and it controls the levels of glucose. And sometimes insulin production stops in our body. This leads to a condition called diabetes mellitus. Generally, it is also called sugar or diabetes or sugar. In Telugu, it is called madhumeham or chakkara vyadhi. So, this pancreas, it releases a hormone called insulin. Besides insulin, it also releases another hormone that is called glucagon. Glucagon hormone, actually, it increases the levels of glucose in our body. So, glucagon is not that much important. So insulin is very important. Insulin is released by pancreas. It controls the levels of glucose in our body. And deficiency of insulin, that means if insulin is not released, a disease occurs, that's called diabetes mellitus or sugar. And here another picture is there. Here cockfight is going on, and sometimes we also get anger. For that, a hormone is responsible for our anger. Actually, we have two kidneys. We already discussed about the kidneys. When we observe the kidneys, on the top side of the kidneys, two glands are there. They are called adrenal glands. That adrenal glands release a hormone that is called adrenaline. This is very important hormone. This hormone, it is actually called flight or fight hormone because it increases the anger, it increases the fighting capacity. So it's called flight or fight hormone. That means it stimulates fighting nature or flighting nature, that means escaping nature. So adrenaline is called fight or flight hormone. For this fight, in order to happen this fight, adrenaline hormone has to release in these cocks. In our body also, adrenaline hormone, it also released. Next here, these are the different glands in our body. These glands are called endocrine glands. They are present in different parts of our body. These are also called ductless glands. That means all these glands, they does not contain any ducts, so they are called ductless glands or endocrine glands. The secretions of these glands release directly into the blood. The secretions of these glands are called hormones. Hormones always directly release into the blood. So these are called ductless glands or endocrine glands. And here we have different glands like pituitary, thyroid, ovary, testis, adrenal, and we already discussed pancreas, like that. This pituitary, it is one of the most important endocrine gland in our body. This is called master gland. That means it controls all the remaining glands in our body. So it is called master glands. Pituitary gland, it is present near the brain. Its shape is like pea seed, and it releases so many hormones like somatotropin. This is also called growth hormone, thyrotropin, gonadotropin, and ACTH. This is called ACTH, adrenocorticotropic hormone, luteinizing hormone, and follicle stimulating hormone. And all these are the functions of these hormones. This is very important gland. This is also called master gland, and these are the functions of these hormones. And thyroid, it is present in the neck region. It releases a hormone called thyroxine. It controls the growth rate and metabolic activity in our body. And ovary, in females, it is present near the lower abdomen, and it releases a hormone is called estrogen. It is also called a female sex hormone. It controls the changes in the females. And testis, it is present in the gents, and it is present in the scrotal sac, and it releases a hormone called testosterone. It's called a male sex hormone. It controls different actions in our body. And adrenal gland, as we already discussed, it is attached to the kidneys. It releases a hormone called adrenaline. It is also called fight or flight hormone. and it controls all these activities. In this pituitary gland, it's called master gland. This is also important. Here now we discuss about the coordination in plants. Here a plant is there. um, Actually we all know that we respond to the stimuli, we respond to the changes around us, but plants also respond to the changes. This plant, this is also called Mimosa pudica or Adhipati plant or touch me not plant. When we touch this plant, it becomes like this. After 30 minutes or sometime, it again comes to the original position. So this is the response shown to the stimulus. That means plants also respond to the stimuli. This is in case of Adhipati. And in plants also some hormones released. They are called phytohormones or plant growth factors. All these are the hormones released in the plants. They are called phytohormones or plant growth factors. These hormones, they control the growth of and different activities in the plants. So they are called plant growth factors. Here this one, first one, abscisic acid. Actually this one, it inhibits the growth. That means it stops the growth of the plant, and it closes the stomata in the leaves, and it increases the seed dormancy. So this abscisic acid, it inhibits the growth, it stops the growth, it increases the seed dormancy, and it closes the stomata. And all the remaining auxins, cytokinins, ethylene and gibberellins, they promote the growth of the plant. This one, this abscisic acid only, it stops the growth of the plant, and remaining the hormones, auxins, cytokinins, ethylene, gibberellins, all these, they promote, they increases the growth of the plants. Auxins, this is responsible for cell elongation, differentiation of shoots and roots. And cytokinins promote cell division, promotion of sprouting of lateral buds, delaying the aging in leaves, opening of stomata, etc. Ethylene, it is responsible for ripening of fruit. And gibberellins, they are required for germination of seeds and sprouting of buds, elongation of stems, stimulation of flowering, development of fruit, breaking of dormancy in seeds and buds, etc. This is very very important, these hormones. And here if we observe a plant, always the plants try to grow towards the sun. That is called phototropism. When we place a plant near a window in our house, it always try to grow towards the sun. This nature is called phototropism. Here observe, bending towards the sun. This experiment was performed by F.C. Wendt, and this is oat seed. This is coleoptile. First he cut the tip of the coleoptile, and he placed this tip on an agar base. This is agar black. He placed tip of the coleoptile on an agar black. This agar black, it takes the chemical present in this tip of the coleoptile. This agar black takes the chemical present in the coleoptile tip, and after that scientist placed this agar black on the coleoptile. Whenever he placed the agar black on the coleoptile, at that place growth occur. It indicates something is present at the tip of the coleoptile. Later on it was discovered as auxin. It is one of the important phytohormone. And this is about the lesson. And now we discuss about the last one, tropic movements in plants. Most of the plants, they always try to grow towards the sun. That is called phototropism. And in plants, roots always try to grow towards the soil. That is called geotropism. And in most of the plants, the roots, they try to grow towards the water. In roots, the lateral roots or root hairs, they always try to grow towards the water. That is called hydrotropism. In some plants, tendrils are present. Tendrils means in Telugu it is called tegalu. They always try to catch the base That type of movement is called thigmotropism. And if we observe the carpel, if we observe the ovary in a flower, at the tip of the stigma, chemicals are released, sugary like substance. That sugary like substance, it attracts the pollen grains, so that is called chemotropism. Like that, different movements happen in the plants, like phototropism, geotropism, hydrotropism, thigmotropism, and last one chemotropism. And like this, plants also respond to the stimuli, and concentration of these plant hormones. Actually, plant hormones are different types: auxins, gibberellins, cytokinins, ethylene, abscissicus, like that. And different concentration of these hormones, they regulate different functions. High concentration of, for example, high concentration of auxin, it increases the growth of stem, but it stops the growth of root. Like that, this lesson is also very very important. And read this lesson, and good luck.